And all Diddy had to say was, Your Honor, I will accept the Mann Act, but I feel like I was targeted by a weaponized Justice Department, and I now understand what President Trump was saying when he said that happened to him, because we have similar things that happen, and I appreciate what he was saying now. I didn't understand it then, but I understand it now.
That's real simple for you to stand here and say.
Donald Trump has reportedly claimed that Sean Diddy Combs personally asked him for a presidential pardon, and according to several Washington insiders, Trump is actually considering it. The revelation has detonated across social media, sending shockwaves through both the entertainment industry and political circles. 1 year into a 50-month federal sentence at the age of 55, Diddy, once the unstoppable mogul behind Bad Boy Records, has transformed from a music icon into inmate number 4882024. His empire has crumbled, his reputation is in tatters, and now, in a twist almost too surreal to script, his potential savior could be the man he once mocked relentlessly, Donald J. Trump. What began as a celebrity downfall has mutated into a full-blown Washington psychodrama, a collision of power, ego, and redemption playing out in real time. If Trump extends that pardon, it won't just rewrite Diddy's story. It'll rewrite the rules of American celebrity, politics, and forgiveness itself.
How about a twofer? Like a twofer from your president?
How about a little Ghislaine, a little Diddy?
A little Ghislaine, a little Diddy, or sorry, Puffy. Yes, President Trump was asked about both of those people. This is the twofer. One,
those people?
Yeah, Ghislaine Maxwell and Puffy.
That was an inside joke.
We all remember how it unfolded. Sean Diddy Combs was sentenced last Friday to just over 4 years in federal prison for violating the Mann Act, convicted on 2 counts of transporting individuals for illicit purposes. After nearly a year in the harsh confines of MDC Brooklyn, the court hit him with a $500,000 fine and zero leniency. The courtroom was tense, charged with disbelief. Diddy, thinner, older, gray creeping into his once black hair, stood before the judge, apologizing to everyone he'd ever called family, his 7 children, his mother, his former partners. Prosecutors painted a picture of control and abuse, pushing for 11 years. His defense team, led by Tenny Garagos, argued for 14 months, noting that the jury had cleared him of racketeering and human trafficking. The jury made it clear, Garagos said outside court. He was acquitted of the RICO and trafficking charges. That matters. But inside, emotion didn't move the law. The sentence stood firm. Then came Monday, the twist no one expected. A reporter called out a question about Diddy in the Oval Office, and Donald Trump, never one to miss a spotlight, leaned in with a grin. "I call him Puff Daddy," Trump said. "He's asked me for a pardon." It wasn't just a headline, it was political theater. In Trump's world, mercy is strategy, and every move is calculated for maximum spectacle. With a single remark, he turned a disgraced mogul into a potential pawn in Washington's grand performance. Another chapter in a saga where image is power and redemption is just another play.
And like that, Donald Trump knew about it. So the question, will Donald Trump actually do it? Pardon him.
It's not just Diddy dominating headlines. The timing feels almost scripted. In the same week, the U.S. Supreme Court rejected Ghislaine Maxwell's final appeal, sealing her fate behind bars and reaffirming her ties to Jeffrey Epstein and the dark elite world she once moved through. Then Donald Trump dropped both names, Maxwell and Diddy, within days of each other, nearly in the same breath. The reaction was instant. From Washington to Hollywood, every newsroom lit up with the same question: coincidence or calculated theater from the West Wing? 2 fallen icons, one who enabled the secrets of the ultra-rich, the other who profited from the excess he once glamorized, now orbit the same sphere of presidential power games. For analysts, it's chaos. For conspiracists, prophecy. Meanwhile, in the courtroom, the drama cuts deeper. Diddy's legal team calls his 50-month sentence excessive and politically driven, but Judge Arun Subramanian didn't flinch. Mr. Combs wasn't just a participant, the judge declared. He was a manipulator, a man who used power, fame, and fear to subjugate others. That statement shattered whatever myth was left. The court wasn't judging a mogul or a movement. It was confronting the man behind the empire, stripped of music, money, and myth.
The court reaches few conclusions. 135 months would be more than necessary. A sentence over 11 years is not reasonable. Even the probation department recommends a sentence less than half of that, but 14 months time served would not be sufficient. A judge says, here the date.
Let's talk about where Sean Diddy Combs has spent the past year. MDC Brooklyn, a federal detention center often called Hell on Earth. Gone are the jets and luxury suites. Inside, there's no champagne, no private chef, just thin mattresses, flickering lights, and meals so grim inmates joke about protein surprise. Maggots and rice. Rust-flavored coffee. Every morning, Diddy wakes to steel doors and a surreal lineup of fallen stars are Kelly, Ghislaine Maxwell, Sam Bankman-Fried, and Martin Shkreli. For the man who once ruled nightlife, it's become a brutal test of pride and endurance. His lawyers have now pleaded with the Bureau of Prisons to move him to Fort Dix, a New Jersey facility that feels like paradise by comparison. Better visits, rehab programs, fewer headlines. The message is clear. They want to rebrand him from scandal to redemption, but insiders say the reality is darker. One former associate claims Diddy is crumbling by the day, desperate for early release. The loss of control is eating at him, his brand, his sanity, his identity. Even in prison, the ego battles rage. Reports say he's furious over being outshined by another inmate, an accused shooter named Luigi Manion. The mogul mystique doesn't last long when you're sharing cold rice and fighting for attention.
The appeal, I think, if I'm handicapping it, if somebody comes to me and says, Mark, what do you think about an appeal? It's not Sean Combs, it's somebody else. The judge found sentencing guidelines that were over 70, and the judge went under by 20. And then I'm asked, I went to trial, I lost on a couple of counts, and the judge went under what probation suggested the guidelines are. I would tell you that an appeal is it's always a heavy lift. It just becomes a Herculean lift.
For Donald Trump, this isn't just another pardon request. It's a made-for-TV redemption arc. Insiders say his team sees the Diddy situation as pure opportunity. Trump the showman, Trump the kingmaker, staging another headline moment. Diddy isn't a friend or ally. He's the perfect foil. The thought of Puff Daddy, bad boy for life, publicly thanking Trump is political theater too irresistible for DC to ignore. It's ego politics, raw and spectacular, dominance masquerading as mercy. Trump didn't mention the pardon. He announced it with precision, knowing every outlet would amplify it. Each headline tying his name to Diddy's possible release keeps him center stage. For Diddy, it's survival. For Trump, it's strategy. And for America, it's the ultimate rematch. Two fallen titans chasing relevance under the same spotlight.
You know, I was very friendly with him. I got along with him great. And seemed like a nice guy. I didn't know him well. But when I ran for office, he was very hostile.
He said some not so nice things about you, sir.
Yeah, and
yes.
It's hard, you know, like you, we're human beings.
Right.
And we don't like to have things cloud our judgment, right? But when you knew someone and you were fine, and then you run for office and he made some terrible statements. So
we can't ignore how surreal this reversal is. Diddy, once untouchable, a man whose power, money, and image seemed bulletproof, now stands stripped of it all. The courtroom tears, the apologies, the broken voice. It's all part of a spectacle no one could have imagined. And yet, here he is, dependent on the very man he mocked for years. Donald Trump power in America is a strange currency. One day, you're the king of the world. The next, you're calling the person you used to clown for mercy. Now, as the media adjusts to Diddy's downfall, whispers are growing about the real cost of this potential pardon. One Trump insider reportedly called it a televised redemption story, adding, off the record, that Trump doesn't do favors for free. The deal may not be written, but the choreography is clear. A humbled Diddy playing along, and Trump basking in the optics of dominance. Meanwhile, Diddy's legal team insists he's still fighting, appeals in motion, filings stacking up. But time isn't on his side, because when Trump says he might take a look at freeing Diddy, the question isn't whether it's mercy. It's whether it's the opening act of a public humiliation only he gets to direct.
Puff Daddy.
The Supreme Court is back, and they rejected today an appeal by Ghislaine Maxwell to overturn her conviction. That means her only chance of getting out of prison is a pardon from you. Is that something you're...
Who are we talking about?
Ghislaine Maxwell.
I haven't heard the name in so long. I can say this, that I'd have to take a look at it. I have a lot of people have asked me for pardons. I call him Puff Daddy has asked me for a pardon.
But she was convicted.
Within days of Trump's offhand remark, the leaks started flowing. His aides began teasing the idea of a high-profile clemency, whispers of a media rollout, even talk of a campaign tie-in. Suddenly, the pardon wasn't rumor, it was a PR strategy, bleeding out of DC faster than election gossip. The message was unmistakable. Trump's team wants the spectacle, the shock value, the headlines, the viral clips. Imagine it. Trump pardons Diddy. Every late-night host, every feed, every trend lighting up with the image of the former president freeing the king of bad boy behavior. What better display of dominance over pop culture than granting mercy to the man who once embodied excess? We've seen Trump choreograph these moments before, but rarely with stakes this high or egos this large. And the facts still matter. Diddy, 55, sentenced to 50 months, has served just 1 year and paid $500,000 in fines. His trial was public, humiliating, and relentless. Asterisk, tearful apologies, emotional testimony from ex-partners, and even his children, asterisk, all dissected like an awards show gone wrong. Then comes Trump, cutting through the wreckage with a single line. I'll take a look at it. Not he deserves a second chance. Not we'll review the evidence. Just that signature, casual tease of power. The contrast is almost cruel. On one side, a man crushed by the system, desperate for redemption. On the other, a former president treating clemency like a stage light.
Too transactional for him to call out the president in court and expect the president to then return the favor with a pardon. I thought it was better to do it back channel and then end up.
Well, now we're going to find out.
Here's a
now we're going to find out if it was more effective.
Stop. No. Donald Trump wants somebody to bend the knee when they were his opponent, which Diddy was.
Yeah. But follow the threads, and it only gets stranger. Reporters quickly notice the timing. Asterisk, Trump floated Diddy's pardon the same week the Supreme Court rejected Ghislaine Maxwell's final appeal. Asterisk, two disgraced names, one news cycle. That's no coincidence. It's campaign choreography, turning America's unease into engagement bait. For the media, it's a double feature. Maxwell and Diddy, scandal and spectacle, guilt and redemption. The clicks write themselves. Meanwhile, Diddy's transformation behind bars shocked everyone. Asterisk, thinner, gray-haired, hollow-eyed, asterisk, barely recognizable. In the American redemption playbook, that image is gold. Insiders are already calling it perfect redemption TV. The fallen mogul, punished, remade, and resurrected by a president. The arc is irresistible. But this version comes with a price. Public submission disguised as salvation.
He got let off easy. And don't get me wrong, bro. I don't want to see a black man in jail. I don't want to see a black man in jail. But I don't care nothing about Diddy going to jail.
So, what's really at play for Trump? The pardon isn't mercy, it's control. It's about reminding everyone who decides who kneels, who stands, and who gets to thank him for the privilege. If Diddy walks free, it won't be seen as justice. It'll be branded as Trump's victory. We've seen this before. The photo ops, surprise commutations, perfectly timed headlines. Power, in Trump's world, isn't about the law. It's about owning the moment. For Diddy, that's the real punishment. The man who built an empire on swagger and self-rule now has to wait for someone else to unlock his freedom. Every rumor from inside MDC Brooklyn about lost privileges, emotional breakdowns, frantic calls, chips away at the legend. Insiders say this is the true humiliation. Not prison, not the fine, but dependence. Because now, the irrelevant old clown he once mocked is the one holding the get-out-of-jail card.
Trump pardoning Diddy will create another Epstein for him. It would be a nightmare. And last and certainly not least, the GOP is already struggling with female voters. And they're not all lefties. There are young conservative women who aren't in love with Trump or MAGA. There are. And this will not help. It's very clear. We all saw the videotape of him beating the hell out of Cassandra Ventura.
Industry insiders say the Diddy pardon is no longer just a legal story. It's a campaign playbook. Rumors swirl about a televised Oval Office handshake, cameras flashing, captions about second chances. The message? Power, spectacle, and redemption, all choreographed for the 2025 campaign trail. Behind closed doors, Trump aides are reportedly floating the pardon-ass performance idea, turning real lives into campaign content. Meanwhile, Diddy remains stuck in MDC Brooklyn, still violent, filthy, and unrelenting. Every leak about his condition fuels two competing narratives: the fallen mogul suffering in silence, or the master showman laying groundwork for a comeback. But there's a darker undercurrent. Executives whisper that nobody gets out of this business clean, and Diddy's freedom, if it comes, might carry a price. What happens if that pardon comes with strings attached? Future endorsements, interviews, even lyrics, each could become a quiet repayment to the man who made the call. Whether it's real or rumor, the possibility alone has Hollywood and hip-hop PR teams on edge. Because the moment Diddy steps back into the spotlight, the question won't be asterisk, is he free? Asterisk, it'll be asterisk, who owns the redemption? Asterisk.
That's where Diddy has been for months now, but last week he was taken to the hospital. According to reports from the New York Post, Diddy was transported from MDC in the cover of darkness at about 10 p.m. on January 30th. He was taken to a Brooklyn hospital for an MRI after reporting issues with his knee.
And still, the spectacle grows. The longer Diddy remains in limbo, the louder the noise gets. Theories multiply. Whispers about secret networks linking Hollywood, hip-hop, and Washington power circles. Old names resurface: Jay-Z, Beyonce, the Illuminati. Former insiders claim it's not all tabloid fantasy, that the line between entertainment and influence has blurred beyond recognition. But as the conspiracies spiral, Diddy's real situation only sharpens. The cameras, the court filings, the leaks, they've turned his downfall into a slow-motion finale everyone wants to direct. What began as a legal reckoning has become something far more performative. Not a fight for redemption, but a struggle over who gets to script it.
Moment, it just felt like, what? Like, is this fun for him? Is this a test?